Today is going to be a little different, a little less punchy, frankly, a little more thoughtful, a little more complex. So if you don't have time for that, move on. I'll be disappointed actually if I have too many views, because not that many people have time for complex thought. But if you do have time for a little bit of complex thought out of the box, stay tuned.
Simcha Sessions, out-of-the-box insights into history, religion, and politics.
Before I tell you why we're living in apocalyptic times where up is down and down is up and good is evil and vice versa, don't forget to subscribe, to like, to share, to even become a member. And touch that little bell so that you know when I'm posting something. And here we go. Mamdani, he's just a local guy. Why should that bother anybody? I mean, New Yorkers, okay, he's a bit of a socialist, so people say hopefully he'll fail, he for sure will fail, and it's just municipal politics. That's what 60% or more of young Jews thought when they voted for him. Jews voted, the young Jews, in the majority for Mamdani, as if it's just about municipal politics. Not so. He's a symptom. And he's a symptom of everything that's wrong, and that's a threat, existential threat to the Jewish state, to Israel. And if the Jewish state goes down, America goes down with it. How so? How is he such a threat? He's just a mayor of a city. No, he represents something. He represents a Hamas ideology dressed in a suit and tie. I mean, think about it. If somebody can say Nazi things and be voted the head of New York, which is essentially so Jewish, with so many Jews, think about it. A Nazi? He's not a Nazi. Yes, he is. He says openly, I do not recognize Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. That's Hamas ideology. Everybody has a right. He says all kinds of nonsense about I don't like theological states. He has no problem with 50 Muslim states. He has no problem with 22 Arab Muslim states or Pakistan, Indonesia. He has no problem with any of them. He has a problem with only one theological state, and that's the Jewish state. It should not exist. Wow. Wow. And the Jews vote for him? Jews did that before. When they don't recognize the threat to their own existence, when the last time the Jews had a state in Canaan, that the anti-Jews now call Palestine, the last time that the Jews had a state in Judea, it got burned down in 70. Jerusalem was burned down in 70. The Holy Temple in Jerusalem, the house of God, was set to the torch by the Roman General Titus. And who was his chief of staff? The Bernie Sanders of the day, Julius Tiberius Alexander. He was elite. He was the nephew of Philo, the Jewish philosopher from Alexandria. His father had been the leader of the Jewish community there. And he was the chief of staff when Jerusalem was destroyed. He was Roman educated. He was a very sophisticated guy. He was so sophisticated that he could rationalize voting, so to speak, for a guy who wants to destroy the Jewish state. And we're doing it again. If you look at what's happening, the Democrats are, turning against Israel. That's the traditional party of the Jews. All the woke people are turning against Israel, the gay groups, the feminist groups, pretty much all the groups that the Jews themselves founded. But now it's happening among the Republicans, because in the United States, the power of pro-Israel has not been the Jews, it's been the evangelical Christians. And now you have the Tucker Carlson, the Candace Owens, these people who are tapping into classical Jew hatred. They crucified Jesus. They're controlling the world through the Mossad and Jeffrey Epstein. They're controlling America. Classic tropes of anti-Semitism, and they're gaining ground. In fact, if you want to feel that we're living in apocalyptic times, the only thing that the Republicans and the Democrats and the right and the left and the religious and the non-religious, the only thing the woke guys and the KKK agree on is how they hate the Jews. And they've been very, very successful in just inverting everything, corrupting everything. Holocaust survivors are called Nazis. The language has been totally corrupted. Israel, which is a democracy, the only democracy in the Middle East, the only democracy, is called apartheid. Israel, which is as diverse a society as you can imagine, with 20% of the population being Arab Muslim and Christian and Jews, and the Jews being black Ethiopians and Jews from Arab lands and Jews from Europe. Suddenly they're all white colonializers. How is it possible that these lies are taking over? I mean, it's apocalyptic. And the amazing thing is that the Jewish community in America and the Israelis are clued out about this happening. Oh no, Trump, we have access to the White House. Trump is a great supporter of Israel. So was Julian the Apostate. Who? He was a Roman emperor after the empire had gone Christian, and he wanted to make Rome great again. He wanted to make Judea great again. Judea, ancient Israel, great again. He literally wanted to rebuild Jerusalem, and he did like Trump. He recognized Jerusalem, and he literally wanted to rebuild the house of God in Jerusalem, the temple, the holy temple. And what happened to him? He got assassinated. Twice people tried to assassinate Trump. And even if they don't succeed, it's a blip. Julian did not succeed in rebuilding Jerusalem because the forces had ganged up on the Jews. And while AIPAC and all these groups that Candace Owen thinks controlling the media and the White House, while that's been going on, billions, not millions, billions of dollars were spent by Qatar on taking over the campuses. The student groups, chairs, getting professors to indoctrinate an entire generation that the Jewish elitists, having dinner at the White House, and Israeli prime ministers also having dinner at the White House and addressing Congress, ignored. But now those people that were indoctrinated, that up is down and down is up, and Mamdani talking in Arabic, I'm one of you and you're one of me, in his victory speech, they're the guys that are taking over power. It's a very dangerous situation, not just for Israel, but for America. And if America's in danger, the whole free world is in danger. That's why the bad guys are creating divisions between evangelical Christianity and Israel, between the youth and Israel, between Israel and America, divide and conquer, while countries like Qatar are playing all sides against the middle. So, it happened before. Rome was like Washington, D.C., the world power. But the Judeans thought they had it all, and they went down too. Now, miraculously, the Jews have come back. It can't happen again. Never again can't be an empty slogan. The world has to wake up. The sons of light, it says in the Dead Sea Scrolls that the sons of light shall fight the sons of darkness. Sons of light, wake up, because the sons of darkness are on the march. If you liked what you've heard, and I'm going a little more complex these days, and I'm going to have 4 members, even like 1-hour lectures, if they can put up with it. If you like what you're listening to, a historical context, a theological context, a political context, subscribe, like, share, and become a member.